Alright guys, HopTic Explanation again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And if you're not enjoying your day so far, you will be after this, because wow, the last few hours have been insane. OpTic Texas came out with a big podcast discussing all the reasons behind why Dashy got dropped. Of course, Dashy wasn't on the podcast to give his own perspective on the attitude issues they discussed that once again emerged. Dashy, though, wasn't happy with this perspective at all, believes it was harming his future career, and goes on a full expose rant about everything that was going down within the OpTic camp over the last couple of seasons, especially with regard to Rambo Ray and some of the difficulty he had with him, and feels like he was getting scapegoated and pushed out of the team for reasons that weren't entirely fair. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, man. Absolute madness. So let's dive into things. If you guys have missed the story over the last couple of weeks, OpTic wanted Arcitys, they wanted Pred, then they got Huke in the end. Dashy was always going to be on. Hitch said on a podcast that, yeah, like the internal relationships were just ruined there and there was no way Dashy was ever coming back regardless of the circumstances. So Huke is now in. They play a game on Sunday, right? The matches start very soon indeed, and even tonight they're doing a process episode with presumably some of the story behind this. Now, I don't imagine we're going to really get Dashy's perspective during this episode. Don't get me wrong, the process is always fantastically well done, but I'm sure Dashy felt like after, okay, Rambo gives his side, Scump gives his side, Shotzzy gives his side. I don't know what Dashy's going to say, if anything, during this episode tonight, but I'm sure Dashy felt like, and presumably understandable reasons, that he wasn't really being able to get his side across, because there's always two sides of the story. Dashy's is probably exaggerated on his end. I'm sure OpTic's is probably exaggerated on their end, right? That's always how it tends to go, and we'll see that here in a second. So first of all, Dashy tweets this out yesterday. Oh, okay, so you want to act brand new. So he tweeted that out before even yesterday's video went live, so kind of indicating something was in the air here, and something big was about to go down, and then he even came out on stream last night and said, you know what, I'm not going to talk about OpTic yet, but I'm going to talk about the OpTic drop when the time is right, and apparently the time was right very shortly after this clip went live, because OpTic came out with a podcast episode last night. It's an hour long. I've still yet to go through the entire thing and really take all the notes that I need to take, but I will share one clip for you guys here in a second. And to be honest, this would have been the primary content for today's video, discussing Scump and Rambo and these guys really discussing Dashy and the attitude problems emerging again, and I'll share a clip that implies that here in just a second. That would have been the primary topic, and that again would have been adding to Dashy's perspective that, you know, these type of things are going to hurt his future career, and that's what Dashy says in a few minutes time. I don't think I'll share that specific clip, but I'll certainly share some other very spicy ones when he's like, look, what they were saying on that podcast was hurting my reputation, and I've got to talk about the fact that they're lying about certain things, and a load of other stuff as well. So this episode comes out, they discuss the Dashy stuff, and as I say, I'll share one quick clip here from that now, and then we'll discuss the breakdown.
So it's not as easy as just dropping somebody because of their attitude, or dropping somebody because of their lack of skill, which in this case it wasn't. Like there are like
I've teamed with Brandon for, this would be my third year now, so like, you know, we've been through a lot together, and like it wasn't easy. We had like an hour call with him, us three, and it was not fun.
Yeah.
We had a talk at the start of the year, and we laid it out on the table. Like, this is what we expect from everybody. This is what we want this year. If we don't get it, there's going to be problems. There were problems, and that's as simple as it was. That's why I wanted Ray to say it's not performance-based, because it's not performance-based at all.
This was the full breakdown by Doc V, man. This guy does not miss on stuff like this, so honestly, like, really appreciate it. And, well, so these are some of the key things that are highlighted here. That clip that I showed you guys at the start there, where he was like, yeah, it wasn't performance-based, basically saying that it was attitude-based, and Hicks kind of said a similar thing. There was other discussions as well about, you know, the fact that they had these talks, and it couldn't really work out, that Scump, you know, really likes Brandon as an individual, but it just wasn't going to work, and, you know, Scump saying he hates it when a player gets dropped, and it gets emphasized how much it sucks to drop your own friends, but it's sometimes what you've got to do. There was also quite an interesting thing here that was mentioned by Hex about a certain player that, you know, personalities, when they get dropped and they talk trash about the fans. Now, I don't think Dashy's really done this so far, to be honest. Okay, there was a couple of clips where he talked about the fans being a bit tricky to deal with, but there's been other players like Crimsix, for example, right? He's left OpTic and has talked about the fans that were supporting him and then didn't support him anymore, and Hex basically considers that to be like, you know, a cardinal sin, that if you do something like that, you talk trash about the fans, there's no way you're ever coming back to OpTic. Even mentioning that there was a certain player who wanted to get back into OpTic, but him and his girl were talking trash about the fans for so long, so the door is closed. Don't know who that refers to. You guys can theorize on that in the comment section below. I don't really think that applies to Crim. I know some people were saying about Octane, but I don't really know if he actually wanted to go back to OpTic, so not sure about that one. But anyway, that was point number 10, not the primary topic of today, and then goes on to say that, and now there's a fire lit under Dashy, and this I think was what kind of got to Dashy, because Dashy on stream was like, when he did his response to this, was like, oh yeah, they're saying that I've got a fire under me now, now, as if the fire wasn't under him before, because he feels like he was going hard trying to win. He actually reckons he was the most committed on the team in terms of turning up on time, and I don't think that's a lie, actually, because I think there's been, he even mentioned it on stream. I can't share that clip because this video would go on for hours, but he did mention that there's like a leaker or a stalker, he said, who goes in the OpTic Discord to see when the players are going into the channels, and it's actually been noted before that Dashy is usually the most on time of all of them, right? And okay, if you're meant to get in the call at 12, I think he said you've got to get into the call at 12 for scrims to start at 1 or something so they can discuss things before. Dashy was usually there more often than not at 12. He reckoned like every day someone was late by at least 5 or 10 minutes. Rambo also went on to say in the episode that the same reasons Dashy got dropped in the off-season for are the same reasons he got dropped now. That's kind of what, Scump implied as well, where he said, okay, we had the discussions in the off-season, and then if things didn't improve, then we were going to drop you, and that's basically exactly what occurred. Now, Dashy doesn't agree with this, and effectively reckons that they were trying to find reasons to scapegoat him and to drop him, and look, CDL Scrum Intel, and this is an opinion that I would have probably echoed had I not heard Dashy's response, where, okay, Leopard never changed its spots, and look, I don't deny that OpTic probably have some reasons to be correct in their analysis here. Dashy even admits on stream he wasn't the perfect teammate, he was a bit of a toxic teammate last year, but reckons a lot of that was inspired by Rambo Ray, the coach. Now, look, I told you guys the other day, Rambo and Dashy didn't get on particularly well. I think this was a known thing. I knew that it was quite bad, to be honest, but I didn't know it was quite to this extent. So I'll share a few minutes of this from Dashy here, a load of different clips. He went on an absolute rant about this, and it's absolutely phenomenal, to be honest. I was cracking up largely during the course of this. There's loads of great insights, but largely due to him feeling he was effectively getting scapegoated. I don't think he said that word specifically, but that's what is implied.
And this year, the entire year, the same, bro, we lose a map, no one's saying anything. 80% of the time, I'm still talking the most, but the 20% of the time that I don't say, it's crickets, right? No one says a word. The first thing, it's always, it's like towards me, like, what, God, nah, we're low energy today, our intensity, all the, and then when I got dropped, they brought up the fact, they were like, yeah, it's because, like, sometimes we lose a map and it sounds like your vibe killed. I was like, me? I was like, bro, what? I was like, I'm the one that's saying the most half the time. If I don't say anything every single time, it means I'm vibe killed. All this, I'm like giving the most effort every single day in scrims. I'm not pleading my case to get back on the team, bro. The team's done, bro. Like the Burgess is unbelievably burned. It's insane. And this has nothing to do with the organization to Hector. It's literally strictly the COD team, bro. Like, I'm giving my opinion, he's giving his opinion, and we just don't even move on. No one addresses it. I'm like, okay, whatever. That's one thing. And another thing, too, I gotta say this about Ray. Since we're leaking everything. Ray's the government. This guy, no. He goes on stream, dude, a week before champ stream, a week before the biggest tournament I'm ever gonna play in my career with my whole teammates, everything, our whole team, we're about to go to champs. This guy goes on stream with this mic, right? This trolley ass, I don't know, this like setup that where he's like on a stand and all this, and then says that we're tweaking going into champs. We're tweaking. He says, yeah, we haven't been getting the best reps. We're kind of like, we're hoping for. I'm like, what the am I hearing, bro? If I'm another team, I'm literally watching, dude. I'm literally at champs. I buy the Wi-Fi. I go on YouTube. The first video recommended 50K clip view. Ray on OpTic scrims. And it was like a thumbnail of us tweaking. I'm like, what the? If I was another team, and then half the time, and then why did I become toxic last year? Is because 80% of it was because of Ray. Because half the time, not even half, like 90% of the time, he'll bring up a clip in the chat, and be like, "Oh, but we're like the best team we're the best team in the game on this specific hill on whatever map. It could be any scenario." And then he'll go, "Oh, well, we need to always be making sure because this guy squat spawned in the back one time, blah blah blah. You weren't trying, or blah blah." Like all this, so much that's just cap to me, bro. I'm like, what the. Like, bro, I'm cool, whatever. You guys don't want to play with me? Whatever. Like, we have to move on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be mad. Like, no, you guys have to like me. I'm doing this, that. Like, bro, like, I can't do, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, but to sit there and act like, oh, no, we just felt like we had a like agreement, and then we just felt like our end of the bargain wasn't, like, what the fuck is this corporate shit? Other than that, I'm going the hardest in scrims. I'm giving the most input. Everyone's showing up late, by the way. Every single day, everyone's showing up late. It's unbelievable, bro. Not a single day I could say with confidence. Actually, maybe a couple days. But out of the 2 months, not a single it's insane. 12:05, one person. 12:07 the next day. 12:10. Am I faded? That's late, right? If the call time's 12, you show up at 12 or 12:05, 12:12, 12. I watched this podcast. I was actually gonna wait till tomorrow, but dude, I'm so tired right now. It's insane because like. Everything is like, oh, bro, everything that we talked about wasn't addressed. Everything. Bro, was I a bitch any time this year? I was on time the most out of anyone on our team, except for one day. One day, okay, like if one day chalk this, I can't. Then God forbid, bro. I don't know, dude. Like, my bad. or whatever. What did I miss? Oh, the party. Oh, okay. Let's talk about this. Seth is blacked out drunk, chewing my ear off about this. He's literally slurring his words, saying, "Dude, you need to delete Val. It's my last year. It's my last year." I'm like, what the. Like, bro, I'm going hard for you, bro. Like, of course I want to win. You think I don't want to win? Like, it doesn't matter if it could be your. You could still have 30 years left in you. I'd still want to win literally every match, like it's as if we're playing our last. You know what I'm saying?
The other thing you talked about, right, about like Rambo coming in with his chest out and this type of stuff. I mean, there's been so many great tweets about this over the last couple of hours here. But of course, the main thing that we've got to mention is the bowling league thing, which is just so funny to me that I simply can't believe it. And it's going to be great meme content, probably for years to come in Call of Duty. Now, if you guys don't know much about Rambo, great golfer, great at bowling. I don't know if he won like any championships in bowling, but he's always been fantastic at it. And also, I mean, obviously he's done many things in COD, even was a developer for Sledgehammer Games a few years ago, and now is obviously the coach for OpTic Texas. So with all the other drama, right, and the fact that Dashy feels like, okay, the other guys were turning up late, he was actually going very hard, and he feels like they were just trying to find a reason to drop him, really, and the reasons didn't make much sense. And he said there at the end, they're like, look, if you guys want to drop me, that's fine, right? If it's not working, it's not getting on, you guys want to move forward with a different player, that's okay. But just, I think he feels the way that they dropped him, and then they're talking all this about attitude and everything that's, you know, effectively affecting his future career, then you know, he's obviously going to get frustrated about that, and also feels like the reasons why they drop him in the first place aren't necessarily valid in terms of, you know, aligned with, you know, turning up on time and this type of stuff, or even trying to win. I think the interesting thing I thought he mentioned was there when they would like lose a map or something, or they would lose a scrim, and if Dashy wouldn't talk or say anything, then they'd be like, oh, Bruce, why are you not talking? Are you a bit low energy today? This type of stuff, which you know, and Dashy reckons that sometimes they wouldn't talk, but yet the same criticism wouldn't be leveled to them. iLLeY could turn up late to scrims and it'd be fine. Dashy turns up late, all of a sudden it's a problem, right? So this is where the management stuff starts to get called into question, and especially with Rambo Ray's leadership of the team. He reckons, Dashy, that at least once per week, one set of scrims would not be chalked, right? So the scrims would still happen, but Rambo would just not be there. He would go to his bowling league, right, to play bowling, and I guess JP would take over the scrims. And okay, I guess the rest of the team didn't think this was too much of an issue. Rambo would catch up after the fact, but still, the fact that Rambo's kind of, I mean, this was the exact quote, the guy's dipping work, this guy's leaving his job to go do this, well, we've got to sit here and work and play the game, and our coach is just buggered up to play bowling. It's like, what is this about, right? At least show us some respect in that sense. So yeah, we know that relationship wasn't very good, and obviously the memes of this are incredible. I do wonder if there'll be any response to this from the OpTic side, just because, I mean, look, obviously the rest of the team seem to be okay with this. Rambo dips out to play bowling once a week, it is what it is. But and also there was the minimap discussion, and there was the other thing that I don't even think I got the clip of, but he was like, Rambo was talking to his dog during scrims, and like sometimes the mic would be unmuted and you'd hear Rambo talking to his dog, and it's like, oh my god, Rambo's like a dog whisperer bowling player, just absolutely hilarious. And also this came out from Formal, where he was talking about the fact that when they do the analysis of the matches, sometimes it's not even the VOD, it's just the minimap. They just discuss looking at the minimap rather than looking at any of the VOD itself. So Formal was like, what's going on here? Of course, Formal got some experience playing at least with Sender during the OpTic Chicago days, but also I'm sure he's been around the Hex quarters, he knows what Rambo's been like over the last couple of seasons. And also this, right, which I've just got to mention for you guys quickly, which, okay, basically Formal gets asked, and it's actually a short that OpTic Gaming put out themselves, what's the difference between COD and Halo coaching? And Formal just says, I mean, I'll die on this hill, I think COD coaches are literally useless. And then he goes out on the stream in Dashy's chat to say the following, COD coaches are useless, I will stand by that. And yeah, TacticalRab right now. So yeah, having a great time. I mean, this is just one of the days that you live for, to be honest, doing this type of stuff. So Formal seems to agree that, you know, Rambo basically, well, okay, I guess Formal seems to think that every COD coach is useless, but seems to also agree that Rambo falls into that category. So yeah, very spicy stuff from all parties, and very much intrigued to your thoughts down below. That honestly, it's not scratching the surface, that's quite a lot of the juice, but there's still more in there that we've got to squeeze out, presumably later on today. And I couldn't tweet this without cracking up, to be honest. So I managed to find this footage here of Rambo from a few years ago in this bowling tournament, gets a nice strike right here. I mean, look at the celebration he does, it's just hilarious. And I mean, yeah, I'm sure there could be probably many better captions than mine on this one, but nonetheless, I thought it was pretty good. So there we go, it's Rambowl, Lucier, or whatever people are going to say from now on. And I mean, yeah, what do you guys think about that? That's kind of the most eye-catching story of the day. But yeah, all the drama behind the scenes has now been aired. And also, Dashy mentioned very explicitly, like, the bridges are burned. There's no going back now. It's, you know, there is bad blood, right? Shotzzy said the other day, oh, maybe there's no bad blood with Bruce, or like, at least from his side, there wasn't bad blood. But it's quite clear there is bad blood between the entire camp there. And when Dashy wants to say what he said, and I think for good reason, to ensure that his, reputation is maintained, and actually saying that a lot of the problems with that team were not on Dashy and not on him not trying, but actually with the OpTic setup in general, and that really was one of the core issues. And even this TJ, get a bit of juice and they forget who they drinking water with. So okay, we've got to talk about briefly the games that are going on tonight. Probably tonight's video is not going to be on the matches, it's going to be on further beef and drama between the OpTic camp, to be honest, after the matches conclude. Just a quick note though, because yesterday we did discuss that the teams, it could just be 8 teams at the major. The copy on the site says there's only going to be 8 teams there. There is some other ones though, so this copy on the site says all 12 league teams will be there in person, and there's also this graphic that some of you guys are pointing out to me that says at the bottom here all the teams attending, including all the 12 teams. So hopefully that puts that one to bed. And these are, amid all this chaos, the 3 games of today. Nothing particularly exciting, to be honest. I'm not too mad that we get to talk about the Dashy stuff again tonight, or maybe even Crimsix piling into the discussion, or maybe an OpTic response. Who knows if Rambo comes out and says something as well by the time I make the video tonight. But Ultra, London, Boston, Rokkr, and then Legion versus Surge. So look, I don't know if this is going to be one of the longest videos I make, but it might well be up there. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.